Welcome. This is called Riots, Looting, and Hating the Police. And this is Professor. So there's a battle going on for young hearts and minds, and there's a sense that things are stacked against them. Unemployment and lack of opportunities when they come out of college, I've read, has been pretty high. The educational system has been teaching them the unfairness of the rich and select groups. Truth, rational thinking, and seeking of knowledge have been replaced by emotions, hearsay, and thinking the same. The young want to feel they are part of a movement. It's very exciting to be able to protest. We see even like second graders and third graders are being part of this movement. The educational system deteriorates and students can't perform basic math or science. So when they're coming out of the educational system, they're being taught about um, social justice and caring for the environment versus the hard sciences, which are math and science. So there's chaos going on. The youth are running wild in the streets. There's protests against the government, attacking store owners and looting, and these people are being encouraged and actually encouraged by our political people. The police are required to go easy on the protesters and looters. If they fight back or are too over aggressive, then it just exacerbates the situation. The media is in on this. They're reporting on any overreaction by the police and putting things in the worst possible light for the police. So then people demand to have law and order, and this hasn't happened yet, but it will. The citizens demand that the government provide law and order, and the police ask for help from the federal government. Federal government's there and provides training, advisors, and military equipment to deal with the riots and looting. We already have this occurred. The federal government is ramping up to provide sensitivity training for the police and providing regulations on what they can and can't do. And a lot of it is so that they can't, what they call targeting of minorities, no profiling, basically having to look the other way when crimes are committed. And you have a president who has underhandedly supported the rioting campaigns on being the one who can restore order. So stoking the fire, then the fire occurs, and then comes in and says, we need to be patient and calm and all that kind of stuff. So he's above it all. So who are the actors in this play? On the left we have the looters and the protesters, and they're mad about something, and they're probably right in some of their complaints, in that society hasn't provided them a good education because of the unions protecting teachers and not having school choice, the breakdown of the family, the bad economic situation in the country with no jobs, a lot of drugs, gangs. So there's a lot of things wrong that are going on in some of these communities. Then you have the police. The police are responding to this breakdown in the communities, and so they have a tough job to do. Then on the right, on the top right here, have the guy who spreads the hate. He's the voice. He's sort of the bad cop for the good cop down below here. So he's the one that's spreading the hate and the propaganda and using every situation, turning it around to his advantage. He's all about revenge. And then you have, in the middle, you have the propaganda machine. You have all the media outlets, and they're all running the same lines, same lies, and people are looking at this information and they're taking it in and not doing any critical thinking. Then down here in the bottom right, you have Obama. He's the law and order guy, and so he's gonna, even though he's stoking the fire and using other people to spread this hate and anger and lawlessness, he's going to come in and say that he's the law and order guy, and he's going to bring order by taking over the local police. So we've seen this play before. So I went back and I did some research, and it just happened to pop up, and something came up about the Nazis that was really interesting. And so it talked about the educational system, how the schools in the early 20th century, they were teaching Nazi doctrine and socialist doctrine. The schools dummied down the education that kids got. The children came out of school, graduated physically fit, well versed in social justice doctrine, but unable to know when to even capitalize a word. And the Nazis had identified a scapegoat, somebody that a group or groups that the people could hate and blame for all their problems, and that was the rich Jews. We know how that turned out. So in the early 30s, there was lots of looting and rioting. What happened is that Germany was very much a socialist state. There was a large welfare system, and after World War I, their economy was devastated. They had really high inflation that was just rampant, and the government had to cut back on the welfare system, and so people were without jobs. They were without any assistance from the government, and they started rioting. And also what happened is the Nazis had a group called the Brown Shirts, and they were the German youth, and they were encouraged to go out and attack Jews, who were the enemy, the scapegoat, the source of all their problems, and also to loot the stores. And the police were told, hands were tied and told not to do anything about all this rioting and looting. So the Nazi government takes over the local police. The Nazis make the police go easy on the rioters, which causes more chaos, and then you have civil order is crushed, and that's when all the adults and the conservative people in the country decide they want order restored. The Nazi government provides training to the local police with regulations and what they can and can't do. So it's government control. The Nazi government provides the military equipment to the local police. So instead of the local police being limited in what equipment they have and how they can control the people, they're actually given military equipment so that there's no way that people can resist. The Nazi government provides advisors who infiltrate the local police, and they drive out anyone who voices any opposition to what the federal government, the Nazis, are doing. Then the Nazi government takes over the courts. They undermine the legal system, and actually in the end they have full power to arrest and imprison anybody without going through the courts. So of course the people cry out for law and order. People hate chaos. They want to be safe, and so they cry out for someone to bring law and order. The people have believed the lies from the complicit media. The media has been feeding them a lot of propaganda, a lot of lies about what's going on, and the people don't have the information to make a wise decision. So there's been years of re-education, keeps them from critical thinking. Also, they're afraid to speak out about the government, what's happening. People stop being individuals with independent thought, but part of the masses who can be manipulated by propaganda and emotions. And that's why you have here on the right this picture of masses of people joining together in these rallies and basically being brainwashed into what's being fed to them by the government and the media. And the media is always complicit in every type of dictatorship, and that's what we have today. So their Messiah appears. Look who jumps into the chaos, promising his Nazis will bring law and order. The one who created the chaos, he emerges to stop it. He becomes a strong man of Europe, willing to do anything to bring law and order. And all dissenters are silenced. So there's a price to pay for the law and order. And of course we know millions are going to die. There's going to be a Second World War.
In jeder Stunde, an jedem Tag, nur zu denken an Deutschland, an Volk und an Reich, an unsere deutsche Nation. Unser deutsches Volk siegt ein! Sieg ein! Sieg ein! Sieg
So what can you do? Well, conservatives will fall right into this by supporting law and order just like the German citizens do. So we have to be careful what we allow and what we talk about and how we phrase things in our support. But we need to do support law and order. But we need to oppose any federal help, oversight, or equipment. We need to support our local police and oppose any federal oversight. We need to become informed on the issues, and one of the ways you can do that is to read from multiple websites, especially outside of the big four, which is NBC, ABC, CBS, and PBS. The first three here are run by some of the largest corporations in the United States, and they're in bed with the government, and so they're not going to rattle the cage or the status quo very much. They're going to basically um, spread propaganda for the government in what things are going on, and also spreading the racial hatred and divisiveness across the country. So as always, make yourself informed, become educated, and also be positive. Thank you.